Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, How Lee's Famous Recipe Overcame Hiring Crisis with Conversational AI, brought to you by Fast Casual and Intel High Auto. I'm Shara Kanzler of fastcasual.com, and I'll be moderating our discussion today about how that although many brands have reported that drive-through traffic is now making up 80% of business thanks to the pandemic, unemployment packages have made it challenging to find enough employees to run their restaurants. To overcome that issue, Chuck Doran, a franchisee who co-owns 13 Lee's Famous Recipe chicken locations, and Bill Sparks, VP of the brand, will discuss how they put conversational AI to use in their restaurants. Additional panelists include Dr. Farhan Mohideen, Product Engineering and IoT Spokesperson from Intel, and Roy Bahav, CEO of High Auto Conversational AI, as well as Carl Naik, Strategic Advisor at High Auto and former VP Operations of Jack in the Box. I would like to kick it over to Farhan.
Thanks, Shara. So as Shara was saying, the pandemic had a significant impact on our lives and across society in general. Like many businesses, QSRs were heavily impacted as well. So they not only had to create new engagement channels to stay in business, but as we speak today, you will see they have faced a number of other challenges. Now, drive-thrus saw a huge uptake because most of the indoor dining was closed. On the surface, for a customer, the operations of a drive-thru is pretty straightforward. But it is one of the most complex systems, and it relies heavily on staff, processes, and multiple systems working in harmony to keep those cars moving at a steady speed. At Intel, we see drive-thru as a perfect opportunity to bring innovation and improve operational efficiency through the use of real-time data, edge analytics, and AI. Now, Roy and his company, High Auto, have been great partners with Intel. And during this webinar, you will be able to see the value they bring to the QSR space. Now, with that, let me come to you first, Chuck. As an owner-operator, what kind of business challenges have you been facing before the pandemic and after the pandemic, and how are things going on right now?
Well, pre-pandemic, obviously we face the same challenges of any other QSR restaurant, right? Staffing's always been a little bit of an issue, but we always were of the belief that the culture within the restaurant would dictate your staffing. The quality of GM would play the biggest role in your ability to hire the right staff and retain the right staff. Other than that, our challenges were food costs, food related, labor related, maximizing our profitability while increasing our sales, marketing, and that sort of thing. So nothing that the standard QSR owner operator wouldn't face on a daily basis. Post-pandemic, obviously a lot of those challenges changed. Our sales increased about, the first month of the pandemic when dining rooms are closed and, the economy's closed. Basically, we were scared for our lives about just staying in business. Once those stimulus checks came out and we're allowed to, open up and people a little more comfortable, the drive-through, to your point, just exploded. We had record sales years, and that in turn led to different challenges in terms of staffing and our guys had to go from being 5K runners to marathon runners almost overnight, right? So their volumes increased in some cases 30+%. So they had to, be on their feet a lot more. They had to manage more effectively. They were in the restaurants a lot more. And so that was the first biggest challenge to overcome. Once the stimulus, the second stimulus came out, the first stimulus bill included unemployment at $600, which put a little bit of a strain on our staffing, but still manageable. Right. When the third one came out with the unemployment plus 300, we seemed to hit the wall. and we weren't alone. The increased sales and increased stress levels in the restaurants push some people. There's people have different mental makeups. They can take it, some can't, and it was too burdensome for some employees, and they chose to leave. And when they leave, they get unemployment with $300, and it turns out they end up making more money not working than working. So and there's a community there that will know that, and that's hit all of us hard. So we were all facing come mid-January, when typically QSR sales are down in the January-February timeframe. We're still chugging along, doing tremendous sales volumes, and then facing these staffing concerns.
So, Bill, if I could bring you in as a brand owner, with your other franchisees, I'm sure you're seeing the same. Is there any further color you want to add based on your interactions with the other franchisees?
Well, yes, Farhan, I think Chuck painted the perfect picture. It's what he painted that so well, and I think that it's really important to acknowledge that that Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken didn't engage Hayato in order to save labor. We engaged Hayato because, like all other restaurants, we have a vast shortage of applicants, and every one of our in every one of our units, if every one of our units used Hayato today, we would still be looking to hire 1,200 to 1,400 team members. So Hayato is not taking away jobs. We are still looking for good people. When Jay Bandy of Goliath Consulting Group asked me if Lee's would be willing to test Hayato, I presented it to our owners, and Chuck immediately jumped on the opportunity. And now he's rolling out to four other restaurants, and he predicts by the year end he'll have it in all 13 of his units. We have several other franchisees in the pipeline, including our largest volume franchisee, who is waiting to engage Hayato. Because of COVID, our drive-through percent went from 64% pre-COVID to 88%. Even without dining rooms being opened, Lee's Famous Recipe increased sales 2020 to 2019 by double digits. And so far this year, we've increased sales over 2020.
Wow.
We're putting about 25% more guests through our drive-through lanes. And we need to look at every tool possible to shave precious seconds off our service times. Because
while maintaining consistency.
Absolutely, you got it. And that's what I was going to tell you. We have to, at Lee's Famous Recipe, we not only have to be famous for chicken, Carl, but we have to be famous for consistent fast service. And if you're consistent, if your operations are consistent, that's where you have success. It's when the guests can come one day and get fast service, come the next day and it's slow. And we believe Hayato is going to be a big part of helping us shave seconds off that drive-through window, off that drive-through lane. I'm sorry.
Roy, I believe you have a video to share with us to actually put conversational AI into the heart of this discussion. Would you like to roll that?
Yes, absolutely. So maybe just to give an explanation to those that maybe haven't seen conversational AI at work, what is it that we are doing? So the solution is pretty simple. What it does, it's like Siri for the drive-through. We cannot answer anything that has to do with stock prices or the weather or what's the latest play-in results and how well LeBron did. But when it comes to drive-through, we are far better than Siri. And what we do is we're able to converse with the customer, and using the brand prompts, we can answer questions like what type of fish is in the fish and chips. We're taking order very accurately. We can upsell. We enter the order into the point of sale system. And we are essentially just like another employee at the restaurant. So what I want to do is I just want to show you a couple of customers that are using the system to get an idea of how does this look like.
Welcome, Elise. Would you like to try our fish and chips combo for $6.49 today?
No, thank you. I would like to get chicken pot pie, and then I'd like to get your two-piece chicken dinner with all white meat with mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans, and a large Dr. Pepper, please, with extra ice.
Sure. Substituting a breast will be $1.50.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Would that be all for you today?
Yes, it is.
Your total is $12.53.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you at the window.
All right, thank you.
What was really clear there, Roy, is that the voice came through very, very clearly, and more importantly, it was so conversational in nature. I mean, you didn't feel like you were. I mean, you could just talk as if you're talking to another person, and the way they took the order and gave that confirmation around, hey, this is what you asked. It was fantastic.
It is live today. And what you saw was an example from early on. Actually, the system's improved significantly since then. It also suggests a sell now, unless the customer says that's all. It will ask upsell an apple pie or whatever at the end of the order, or a drink. So it is, we've had in place since end of January, 1st of February. What I can tell you is our order accuracy has improved. So the Hi Auto conversational AI is more accurate than a human being in taking the order and makes fewer mistakes. Our suggested selling has improved. So our average ticket's gone up at the drive-through to the tune of about 2%. So that's not bad. 2 cents on every dollar you sell. And customers generally, at least a lot, don't know they're talking to a Siri or an Alexa when they're at the drive-thru. A lot of times they believe they're talking to the cashier. We have a automated drive-thru greeter, and that's what you heard there, which is obviously a genuine human being just recording that greeting. And then the way that we call her Sierra takes over is pretty seamless. So, and again, what we see today is improved over what you saw in that video. The speed of transaction has improved. The accuracy of the transactions has increased, and overall our drive-through sales have increased. I've got a total of 2 customer complaints on our drive-throughs in the past 3+ months. So our Google reviews have gone up, and it's been an amazing addition to our business.
Wow, that's great to hear, Chuck. Equally, in addition to the customers, how has your staff reacted to having this system, actually work with them?
That's been a blessing because of I think I touched this initially, and anyone in the QSR industry knows this, that when you're shorthanded, the stress level in the restaurant goes up. Everyone's expected to do more to just take care of the basics. And to my point, where you have one person running the drive-thru instead of 2, or 2 instead of 3, someone's having to pick up the slack there. So if one person's trying to take the order, bag the order, process the order, pass it out, collect the money, they're under a certain level of stress and expectations. And, bless their hearts, the customers, bless our employees' hearts, the customers don't see, nor do they understand, nor do they care that we're under these staffing constraints. All they know is that I'm at the drive-thru, I'm ordering, I go through the drive-thru because I expect it to be fast. And they don't care that we're shorthanded. I want my food. I want it in a an acceptable time frame, and I want it to be right.
Carl, you've kind of run some pretty large-scale operations with Jack in the Box in the past. What's your take on this solution, and do you see, further opportunities for other QSRs to, use this and maybe automate further?
Oh, Farhan, yeah. As Bill was talking about, beyond staffing, potential labor cost, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this for those reasons. But that's the first layer. Think down a layer, right? Chuck's talking about that all those tasks, the myriad of things going on. Well, just look at the attendancy of the drive-through person today. If they are taking care of the guest, every time that bell rings, they got to be right there and they're talking to that person. They have to be attendant to that station. That changes the game completely when they no longer are. You think about three areas. One, task flow. First, your minimum staffing, assuming most concepts would say the minimum number of people I'm going to have working a shift or at any given time is 2. Well, now your minimum staffing is 3, right? Because you need 2 for security, but 2 people now have the ability of executing at a 3-person staffing level. You're also going to be able then to load people in at a slower rate. So your third person is going to be staffed at a higher volume than they used to be. And that's going to just compound itself. The result's less task loading at every position. And as you think further about the plant physical layout, where would you go if you redesigned a Lee's Chicken or any drive-through window station when I don't need that attendancy? And what's the future implications to capital, right? Do I really need a double bubble? Do I really need 3 drive-through cash registers without a double bubble when you've got an AI taking it? That's just within AI order taking. All those layers have to be laid in yet. Opportunities in your operational your operating system. Beyond that, where else can AI go? Think about that multitasking for the manager, right? The reliance crews have, or we have on crews to execute the quality, service, cleanliness visions of our brands requires a great deal of multitasking in a fast-paced environment. And when a crew gets it wrong, any one of those critical tasks get out of alignment. Roy mentioned that it can handle availability. So if you're out of a product, the manager can interact with High Auto, tell it, we're out of this for a while. And so when the customer orders, High Auto will just say, sorry, we're out of that. Would you like something else? But imagine, why was it you were out? Short of Chuck's explaining the supply chain problems, I'm glad I'm not trying to purchase a lot of chicken wings right now. But there's only 2 reasons in the restaurant. Somebody didn't prepare the food at the proper time, so I'm out right now. Or someone missed one of those critical tasks, or demand was higher than forecast. Both of those are things that an AI can help with. If the AI can interface with the crew and start monitoring all the data it's already seeing. I know if transactions are higher than normal. I know how many pot pies you sold, right? So the future stream and linking through the IoT with your equipment and making your plant, your people processes, and your total integration of those things work together for your brand vision. It's out of this world.
Wow. And I'm also wondering, Carl, from your point of view, we are talking about QSRs, but this could pretty much apply to any type of restaurant, right? Or is it?
If you have an order point,
yep.
Right? It's an order point. And I think that you've got from a small mom and pop, 1 unit, all the way up to a 5,000 unit chain. There is a place for this if you're having staffing problems. Show me a restaurant operator that's not having a staffing problem. And the launch pad it creates, as I said, for where you can go with bringing AI into the restaurant. Today, it's your best employee. Tomorrow, it's going to be your best shift leader.
Right.
as we all know, the less stress in-house, the better the customer service, the better that smile, the consistency of that smile, the hospitality.
And the reverse catch-22 is when you become that brand, it's easier to hire. People want to work for you. You're friendly. It's a place I want to eat. It's a place I wouldn't mind working. And
Sure.
We all know the industry examples of where that's just true.
Sure, absolutely. Roy's mentioned it. Chuck's mentioned it. Carl's mentioned it. And our order accuracy is a big part of selling a top quality product or serving a top quality product. And if the order's wrong, then the whole visit isn't right. And what impressed me was even when the Dayton guests came through and said their order out of sequence, Hi Auto still picked the order up correctly and entered it into the POS system. As I was listening on my headsets, I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say anything to anybody else. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way this is going to come out right because of the way the customer gave the order. And so I looked at the POS screen, and there it was, just beautiful. And it did to Chuck's point. I mean, that's human error can really mess with that if the customer isn't given the order in the correct sequence, and it's not really their job to make sure. It's not the customer's job to make sure they give the order in the right sequence, but it's always nice if they can. But the orders that I saw come through where they did not give the order in the right sequence, Hi Auto still nailed that order. And it was exciting. I was like, wow, this is, and I know that, Rand, you talked about the stress level. I talked to the cashier while she was there, and it was just one cashier, and they were lined out to the road. And I said, well, how's Hi Auto doing today? And she goes, this is great. She goes, Hi Auto's doing a wonderful job. And she was handling everything herself. And again, because of that less stress level, she was talking to the customer at the window. She was giving them their drinks, their credit card back, and their food. And she was doing her procedures correctly because she wasn't split. Her time wasn't split up between trying to run two positions or coordinate with the cashier. So it was wonderful.
Can you maybe share what were the problems in adopting AI and what were the challenges throughout the way where, I don't know, things didn't work as you thought they are, and how, we overcame them?
Well, first of all, let me just say Hi Auto has been a great partner. You guys have been wonderful. Roy, Yal spent, to your point, 6 weeks here with us and working side by side with us in the store. I mean, we have a fairly intricate menu. It's fairly elaborate. So the ability to integrate that was certainly a challenge, and to get it right and understand spicy versus famous versus oven roast versus a thigh versus a wing, versus a strip. And I mean, on a Wednesday, we didn't hear that interaction, but on a Wednesday, when we have a 3-piece meal special, people will pull up and say, I want your 3-piece special with a crispy breast, famous thigh, and give me a strip in there. And you know what I mean? And that's where the mistakes come. But you guys, so that was the first obstacle to overcome, is just that order accuracy point. I think we're over 99% order accuracy now, looking at the last report and stuff. And that's, to my point, we're better than a human being at this point. The second thing that the challenge we faced, I think, was the speed of service, because, we'd ask the question, we'd wait for the response, we follow up, and we were doing order verification. So we're repeating the order back to the customer. And then once you repeat it back, you have to wait for the customer to say, yeah, that's okay. And we actually eliminated that just for speed, because order accuracy was a level we're comfortable with. The customers don't seem to mind not having the order verified.
And just for the audience, you don't have menu verification boards, so that wasn't visible either.
Nope, we don't have a confirmation board. So we did away with that just to speed up the transaction at the menu board. And, I think those were the two biggest obstacles I think EAL had to work to overcome that we worked with. There were some reservations at the store level, but those vanished pretty quickly. But in my view, you know, it's all about results, right? I mean, no excuses, just results. And if order verification was an issue, I'd see it in our Google reviews, and I'd see it in the customer complaints going to Bill Sparks. I mean, I'd know it. And I'm not lying when I say our customer reviews at the Inglewood location where we started this have increased. Our customer complaints have gone down.
Well, that's really great to hear. And Roy, it must be music to your ears there. What do you think, you plan to bring to market beyond, what we're seeing right now in those videos? Is it in line with what Chuck is saying?
I think getting the drive-through product right is our first priority, and it's so we still have missing parts. So we don't have Spanish, and we can't send the YAL to spend 6 weeks every time we have a new concept, and there are other things that are happening that we are working on. And we talked about some of our potentially quality issues. So we're perfecting this product because we really believe that the ROI is a direct product of the quality of the overall solution. And there is a difference between drive-through and a drive-through poll in the lobby, because potentially at the lobby you may want to have some kind of a more immersive experience where you can have there is this another company that Intel is engaging with called the Hour One that is doing this deep fake, or I shouldn't call it deep fake, synthetic characters, where now you can potentially create a real personal experience that feels like a person talking to you. So I think there may be a next generation experience that combines what we do at the drive-through with something that would, create a great experience when you come in. And also we need to find a way, and then Carl and I had some conversations about it. How do we make Hi Auto and then conversational AI in general as a tool for the people that operate the restaurants? And we're not taking over the restaurant, but we are making them more powerful. So we have some ideas around that area as well. But we will definitely, I think it's around the corner, and it's in the same neighborhood, and we're going to take care of it. But first of all, we need to show that we can scale, and we need to support Spanish, and that's the goal for the next for the near future. And then we'll get to the lobby and to the phone and line busting and all that stuff.
And with that, I think I will let you guys go. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.